Programs Manager, IDMC Ghana, Institute for Digital Marketing and Communication Ghana. And I welcome both alumni and new people joining us today to our free negotiation skills workshop or webinar. And we hope that this course will help improve your strategies to communicate very well and also secure a win-win outcome and also master the art of persuasion in any situation you find yourself. Especially we are looking at cashing out for you. So please I will encourage or I will urge everyone to pay attention to this session, and we would like to mute everyone so that we don't have okay. Okay, so I'm muting everyone now. Thank you. I'm sorry about that, but I have to. Okay. Yes, thank you, Lady Anne. All right. So before we start the main session this evening, I would like to not from the people we already know. I know that some alumni members of IDMC, but I would like to hear from people who are joining us from the first time. I just need 5 people. You just let me know your name and where you are joining us from and how you got to know about the course. Mainly your expectation when you saw the course and why you joined. So anyone can start. If you're able to use a hand raising emoji, please do that so that I unmute you. Mr. Eric, can you? Okay, so I have EP. Okay. Fifi, please unmute and let's go.
Okay. Thank you so much for the opportunity. My name is Fifi Amuopon. I work for an insurance broking firm called Olia M&G Insurance Brokers. So it was just this evening that I was having a conversation with engineer Jerry Mensah, and he told me he has a presentation. If I'm interested, I should join. So I was actually thrilled by the subject that will be treated, so I decided to join. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much for sharing that with us. You're welcome. And I have Jeremiah Amwa. Hello, Jeremiah.
Hi, good evening.
Okay.
Hello. Good evening. My name is
Good
Jeremiah
evening.
Amwa, a student of Unimark IJ. Dr. Martin Thomason was my lecturer during my second year, and I got to know about this presentation through one of my mates who was actually our course rep. So, with his expertise in class, anything coming from him, I believe it will be of great impact on me. So I decided to join this evening.
Okay, thank you so much, Mr. Amwa. Stephen Opoku, please, you can share what you have with us.
Okay, thank you for this opportunity. I am Stephen Opoku. I am joining you from Drobon, so in this Afram Plains districts.
Great.
In fact, I got to know this through my email messages. I've been receiving emails from you of this particular program. And before even joining you, I got the notification that we are ready for it. In fact, my interest is to build my negotiation skills. That is why I really find this interesting to be part of. Thank you.
Thank you so much for sharing that with us. I have Prince, please unmute. Then we take Derek, and then last but not the least, Evangelist Theo.
Hello.
Hello, good evening.
Good evening. I'm Kosi from Conference. I'm an accountant at a hospital. I heard this on Facebook, and then I learned the negotiation is this evening, so I just decided to join. Thank you.
Okay, great. Thank you, Derek, and then
hello.
like I said, yes, Evangelist Theo.
Yeah, good evening. My name is Derek. I'm a graphic designer and a video editor. I think I saw the course at the right time. I was looking for a digital marketing program. And so I think I saw it on Facebook. Maybe Facebook had my conversation. I don't know. So when when I saw it, I was like, this is exactly what I was looking for. I mean, artificial intelligence and digital marketing. So I said, let me take the opportunity. And I checked on your website and I checked other websites, but your program, the program you have with the alumni messages and everything, it looked very legit. So I hope my expectations will meet. Thank you.
Okay. And thank you too. And then please, I'm sorry, we'll still take some of you midway and then going towards the end of the session. So please don't get angry if I don't mention your name. So we'll take Theo. I don't know whether it's Theodora, Theophilus, but then please unmute and then give us the final take.
Yeah, okay. Good evening, family. Good evening, friends.
Good evening.
It's Theophilus.
All right.
Theophilus, Evangelist Theophilus. Okay, I am a human resource manager. I'm also a biologist. I'm speaking from Etiwa West. That's Abomusu. That's in the eastern region. I think I got to know about this program. Was it these pop-up messages that normally, that kind of random messages that people tend to receive? And I checked it up, and it was interesting. I decided to join.
Okay, thank you so much for joining. Okay, so all right, so I think we'll take a break midway and I'll come back to Solomon, Ebenezer, and then some few other people who have joined us. We really appreciate that you have joined and we hope that we meet your expectations as you have shared with us. So we'll take our official remark from Dr. Martin Thompson Intem. Then we move into the main session for this evening, the reason why we are here this evening. Good evening, Doc.
Yes, thank you so much. I think this should be one of our most attended free course. Normally, when we run, when we do free courses or free webinars and all that, we don't have a lot of people joining. But when we ask them to pay, they pay and then they join in their numbers. And I'm happy to say this is one of the courses or free courses with the highest number of attendance so far. And we are hoping that the numbers will double because those who have shown interest are more than double. I welcome all of you to our first session, our first meeting for the year. We have a lot of courses that will be rolling out throughout the year, but we decided to start this one as a Christmas or New Year gift to all of us. Negotiations they happen almost everywhere. In the kitchen, where you have to justify why you need chickens or two balls of bamboo instead of one. It happens in the offices. It happens in the trotro. I'm sure it happens in the bedroom. Your guess is as good as mine. It happens everywhere. So it's not surprising we have a lot of people here who want to, build the capacity in negotiation. And I am very sure and confident that you will not be disappointed because we so much believe in our facilitator for today. He has taught some of you. I think Theodora has denied the alumni the opportunity to share their views or tell us something small. So before Jerry will come in, we can take 2 or 3 alumni members to tell us what they know about us. Maybe they have something to say or share their experiences
so the others will know. I know a lot of you have also registered for our upcoming courses, the AI one, the one in advanced data analytics, and some of you may just be wondering, are these people legit? Are these people the right? I mean, wouldn't somebody take my money and then run away and all that? But we have trained over 2,000 people, and some of them are here. I see Winifred Abochi, one of the brilliant participants when it comes to data analytics. And so I'm sure her hand is up. She may want to share something. And so please, let's relax. We normally start at 5:30, but today we are starting at 6 so that almost everybody will settle home or will be almost ready to join. So we have only 2 hours, 30 minutes to, have a discussion on this. So I pray that we all enjoy and learn more from the sessions. Thank you.
Thank you, Doc. So, Winifred.
Hi, evening.
Hi, good
I hope you're
evening.
doing
Great to have
well.
you back.
Yes, it's amazing to be back. I actually, my name is Winifred Elom Abuchi. I have been with IDMC for, I think, like since last year. I did 3 courses, starting with the data analytics and visualization, and then the digital marketing. I did that as well. And it's been amazing. I actually heard of negotiation as a course. I didn't even know it was a course. That was about 2 years ago for one of my majors. And she said she did one course like that in like the 1990s or like early 2000s. And it's something that has really helped her. So I've been always on the lookout for a course like that. So finally I got an email like, negotiations, and I can't, let that slide. So I decided to join and, see what it's about and what's also add to my portfolio. So thank you for having me.
All right, thank you so much, Winifred. You're welcome back home. We'll take Bless Latte, and then we have Gabs GH. Then we'll move straight to the class. Hello, Bless. Okay, if Bless is not ready, we'll take Gabs GH. I'm not sure who that is, but
yes. Hello, good evening. My name is Gabriel Ayi.
okay.
Last year, I was on the event management, promotion, and sponsorship program. And I must say, it was so educative. I am really enjoying out of it. And those contemplating, please, IDMC is super, super legit. Like, their lectures top notch. And I recommend it to a lot of people. So, yes, thank you.
Thank you so much. And Bless Latte, are you ready for us now? Okay, then we'll take Reverend as the final person. Hello, Reverend. Good evening.
Good evening, Theodora.
Good evening, sir.
It is pleasure to be back home with IDMC, and indeed, we are very, very grateful for your support and the training you give all of us. Indeed, those who are new on this platform, be rest assured that you are at home with all of us saying this. We are not to lure you or deceive you to throw your money away, but I've been with IDMC for the past 2 years, and I've done 3 courses, and I've registered for this IA and digital marketing. I've registered for data and visualization, and I'm in for all the courses throughout the year. So please join the family. You're welcome. Thank you.
Thank you. Reverend says join the family. So please join the family. After this, you are a part of the family. So keep coming back. So we are going straight into today's business, and we have so on your screen. Sorry, let me project it back. Okay. So on your screen is a facilitator for this evening. We have Engineer Jerry Ando-Mensah. He is the National Sales and Marketing Manager at Toyota Ghana Limited, and he's the one taking us through this evening's webinar. Hello, good evening, Engineer Jerry.
Hi, good evening. How are you doing, Phil?
I'm doing well.
Good to hear your voice once again. It's always a pleasure to be here.
Good. Okay, so I think you can share your screen now, then you take over the.
So good evening to everybody. It's always a joy to be in your midst, and I'm always delighted to be part of this wonderful family that we all identify as the IDMC. So, wait, let me just minimize my screen. So like we have all been doing, and we've welcomed ourselves to this wonderful session. Today's session is going to be another interactive session. Our sessions are always interactive. We would want to have classrooms that are very vibrant. People express their views, people share ideas. We don't believe we come here to either lecture, tutor, or facilitate. We only come here to share ideas, because what you know would impact what I know would impact what you know. So please be at ease, feel relaxed, be comfortable, and let's all go through a learning path where we will all come out as good and complete business managers or social managers, whichever definition you would want to find yourself in. And so this evening, our subject for discussion is effective negotiation skills. Effective negotiations. And like I said, our bid is to make sure that transform people into business managers and social managers who can go and get the tangibles out perfectly and clearly, such that when we go, we know we have a target to meet. So this evening's discussion is going to come subjects of what we even define as negotiation. We would understand what negotiation is all about and what negotiation has to offer us. And is it just a social discussion? Is it just a one-on-one interaction? What is it all about? We'll also analyze and discuss how we can prepare to negotiate. How we can prepare to negotiate. We'll also be looking at some negotiation types and strategies and approaches to deploy when we are in a negotiation mode. Then we would also consider the weapons of negotiation. Weapons of negotiation. Well, if you've negotiated, you started and you've done everything, chances are that you could have a stalemate. You could have a challenge somewhere that the discussion, the negotiation you started off is not even advancing. So what should you do? How should you go about it? So when you have a stalled negotiation, what are the tools that we can deploy to revive our negotiations? Then we'll also look at what we would consider as cross-cultural negotiations. Cross-cultural negotiations. So under these topics, our framework for this evening's discussion would be engaged. I hope we would go by our normal practice. Usually we'd do some half, then we'd break a little and come in again to continue. I don't know if we'll be doing a breakaway session today since we didn't start from 5. Would we have a time for breakaway? Theo?
Yes,
Right.
we can do that.
All right. Okay. So when I get to a next session where I think it's okay, I'll signal then we can take a break and we go on with our discussion. So in the first instance, I would want to understand, when we say negotiations, what are we talking about? If it were to be a face-to-face session, I would have been asking you to, if somebody can give me what's the person understands or the person's perception about what negotiation is about, I would have been very glad. But anyway, we can still do same. So if anybody, 1 or 2 people can just give me what their perception of negotiation is about, well, you can put up your hand, I'll recognize you, and you tell me what your understanding of negotiation is all about. Boy, you can come up. I can see you now. Anybody want to try?
Hello, good evening.
Yes. What do you consider to be negotiation? Please proceed.
Hello.
Yes, proceed.
All right. My name is Michael. Can you hear me, please?
Yeah, I can hear you. Go ahead.
All right. I believe a negotiation is a discussion that is aimed at reaching an agreement or something. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Exactly what you said. Juliet, you also want to share something? All right. I think we can proceed now. We've had one example. So please, if you can unmute so that we can proceed. Now, negotiation is a process that speakers go through to reach a clear understanding of each other. Remember, we are talking about negotiation. It is considered as a process where speakers go through to reach a clear understanding of each other. Okay? Just a second. Again, negotiation is about finding ways to reach agreements to settle on a joint decision, good or bad. Please take note of certain words. It is about finding ways to reach agreements to settle on a joint decision, whether the decision is good or is bad. As far as entities would come together to have an agreement, to come to a decision where the decision would either turn out to be positive or negative, good or bad. So if you decide to go and buy Kontomire, if you decide to go and buy Achumo with somebody, and you have a discussion and you decide to move and you agree to a certain extent, you are negotiating for a deal. Negotiation is a strategic discussion between two or more parties to resolve an issue or to resolve issues. Negotiations can occur between known and unknown entities. I might not know face, I might not know you from anywhere. You might be coming from Veatu. I might be in Treshe, I might be in Tumu. I might be having a negotiation with you. As far as our thought is to come to a consensus on a planned project or an activity to execute, we are negotiating. I don't need to know how beautiful your face is. I don't need to know how broad-chested you are. I don't need to know whether you're a woman or a man to start a negotiation with you. But as far as I'm engaging you in thought that I am in a mood to negotiate. In negotiations, you need to know what you want. What you want. Negotiation is just like going on a battlefield. It's a kickoff. So definitely you need to know what you want in a negotiation. Then you need to know what you will not accept. What you want, what I will not accept. You need to know when to communicate. There are people who just talk anyhow, they just talk by heart. But in a negotiation setting, you need to know when to the buccal cavity, as some doctors would say. Then again, you need to know when to walk away. So these four elements that I have briefly discussed are tenets and the components of what to go into a negotiation. Know what you want, know what you will not accept, know when to communicate, know when to walk away. If you have these matrices at your fingertips, then sincerely, you can easily and effectively go into a negotiation. We started a discussion by defining what negotiation is, but our subject for discussion this evening is effective negotiation. Effective negotiation. Emphasis on the word effective. When we say something is effective, then it means that it generates results. It means that it should come with a trophy. It means that it should come with an outcome that is pleasurable. When you say, I want you to have an effective communication, it does not mean that I just want to have a discussion and talk with you. How are you? No. The talk should have a direction. Same thing applies to negotiations. The subject for discussion as you want to enumerate now is effective negotiations. We said negotiations involves one person, two people, three people. You can negotiate with yourself, your soul. You can talk to yourself, and you'll be negotiating with yourself. The women, when they wake up in the morning and they are going to their offices, Ask them, they negotiate a lot with themselves. I should put the pancake here, I should put the gold here, I should put the blue here, whether the earring should be big or small. I'm not picking on women, but anyway, I just want to make emphasis. A lot of our discussions are always on social issues, and we just want to make it very clean and clear and very simple for everybody's understanding. So when I pick on any subject, please understand it's just for academic exercise. Don't take it personal. So like I'm saying, you can negotiate with yourself as a man. You can negotiate whether you want to go in for this car or you want to go in for another car, a blue car, whether your dress to work should be white or pink. So negotiations can involve you alone, it can involve parties, it can involve multiplicity of parties. Here again, I'm saying that we are talking on a subject of effective negotiations. Here we want to have an arrow digging into negotiations. And now, how do we define effective negotiations? An effective negotiation is one that accomplishes mutual agreement. We spoke about negotiation as parties that are trying to have some discussions ongoing and is open-ended. But the moment we start talking about effective negotiations, our understanding and our plan is to make sure that there's mutual agreement. The agreement can be positive, it can be negative. The agreement can be yes, it can be no. But as far as we mutually agree on certain terms, we have effective negotiations. Now, this can be taken by way of suppliers when I'm talking about supply conditions or materials or services that you want to have, or some contractual agreements that you want to establish, or some conflicts that you would want to resolve. As far as you come to a mutual agreement, then effectively you have negotiated. One will ask ourselves, what do we seek to achieve when we get into the mood of effective negotiations? So from henceforth, as our discussions are going on now, I'm emphasizing on effective negotiations. I have moved away from the position of negotiation, and now we want to center on effective negotiation. What do we seek to achieve when we want to negotiate effectively? Tenets of this point are this: you want to build stronger relationships for business growth through trust and respect. In your bid to have effective negotiation, the word trust and respect is very paramount. If you want to grow your business and you want to negotiate for a business advancement or leverage, components should include trust and respect. Then effective negotiation also creates opportunities for better business deals. If you don't know how to negotiate very well, you can never have any better business deal. You have a business deal, but yourself, would it be a good business deal? You might be negotiating for milk when sincerely you really would want to negotiate a tin of milk, when sincerely you really would want to be negotiating for a gallon of milk. Now, effective negotiation also establishes positive influence for business opportunities. It reduces stress to close deals. If you learn to negotiate effectively, your level of stress to close a business deal is limited because you know the jargons, you know the activities, you know the weapons to press to make sure that you don't waste on time and you don't spend unnecessary resources within the space of time. Negotiation should have a time frame to be able to close deals. Above all, negotiation also reduces cost and it increases revenue and profit. If you are in a business setting and you want to grow your business by way of your profit levels, your rate of returns, and your profitability to get to a certain peak, then you should be able to understand that parties will be involved in your business and you will be interacting with them. And these interactions certainly would be negotiations. And your target is to make sure that you increase your revenue, which will keep your business going, and you have your profit, which will sustain your business. If it's just a social interaction, once you're able to negotiate very well, you eliminate undue conflicts, which obviously will bring humanity to closure where everybody will be living at peace with each other. What skills would you require to negotiate effectively? Going into any battle, you need arsenals. And what are the arsenals that would grant you opportunity over your competition? Or what are the arsenals that will grant you leverage over somebody who is getting close to you, who might not be a competitor, but could be a business partner that you want to leverage on? The first thing you need to look out for is active listening. Active listening. Active listening. In our part of the world, unfortunately, for those of us who are descendants of Ham with that skin, it appears as if we don't really play a lot of emphasis on active listening. When people are seated before you and they are talking, you find people engaged in other things. In this day and age of social media and tablets all around, you are in serious negotiations with people to close a deal, and you find everybody on a tablet trying to press something or trying to be engaged. So the listening attitude is not even there. You are talking to people and their minds are somewhere. I went out one time with some people to go and eat and have some social life. And we all ended up coming back home not satisfied because you couldn't even negotiate very well on the table. Everybody was on his mobile phone or tablet trying to do something. Nobody was listening to anybody. So a skill that you need to be able to effectively negotiate is active listening. Because if you listen very well, you are able to pick ideas from whoever is negotiating with you. Whoever is negotiating with you is talking. People expose themselves as they talk. You are able to pick some things from the person to aid you in your next plan as you negotiate. So active listening is very, very key. Then what you call emotional intelligence. Emotional intelligence. If you don't have the capacity to control your emotional innate, I'm sorry, then you'll not be able to negotiate very well. Because if you are trying to negotiate with me, who is an aggressive negotiator, and I can provoke you easily, and I can get you to a height where I think I can cause imbalance in your system, and you're not able to compose and control your innate being, and you unduly will explode. As you explode in your undue nature, your reasoning is impaired and would affect the negotiation cycle that you have with me. So emotional intelligence, your ability to have empathy and sympathy as you negotiate is very, very key. Again, you need what you call adaptability. Adaptability. Every negotiation happens in a certain environment. You need to adapt yourself to the environmental situation. The people you are negotiating with, what is the posture that they assume? Where are they coming from? What's their reason? What's their background? How are they situating themselves into the negotiation process? You need to be able to adapt to the settings of the environment that you find yourself in. Then another powerful skill that you require is the skill of persuasion. Persuasion. If you want to know how persuasion is a negotiation tool, ask the men how they're able to persuade women who never plan to marry them. By the end of the day, they find themselves seated in their homes. The ability to persuade, the ability to use sweet language, the ability to use your body persuasion to attract a negotiating effect is very, very, very key. So these 4 pillars that I've just enumerated, active listening, emotional intelligence, adaptability, and persuasion, are very powerful skills that you require if you want to negotiate very well. I call a trial, and I call them the trial of effective negotiations. And I want to give you the basic outline how to build a strategy for effective negotiation. This trial is not a trial to sing. No, we are not here to sing. It's a trial that will complement and build a bridge for us to effectively negotiate. The first trial that I want to talk about is what? What? As you negotiate, your framework should encapsulate around the tangibles of what. The next one is why. Why? Why? Then how? How? What? Why? How? So you call them the Y squared H. Y squared H. These are this. What are you negotiating? You can't just walk into a process of negotiation and you just walk in there and you have no idea what you're negotiating about or where the negotiation process is up to. You just walk in there, Johnny just come, you sit down, you start also babbling and also chatting. No, you do that, you're only talking. And negotiation should always end with an action point, and that's from the what of the negotiations. Then the whys. Why are we opposed? Every negotiation has a thought that there is something at stake, that polarities are holding. We are at variance and we are at different polarities. But why are we negotiating? Why are we opposed? If you understand why you are opposed and you walk into the negotiation mood, you will be able to conquer. Then, how can we meet in the middle line? The how to meet in the middle line. That is the interest at stakes. I have an interest, you have an interest. I want to buy a product from you. You would want to sell the product to me. I want the product at a certain value, but you also want the product at a certain margin. You're talking about value, you are talking about pricing. I'm also looking at my margins to retain that I can run my business. I have an interest. I'm negotiating with you. I want you to give me your land, and you are also interested in taking money from me. As to how I manage to know what your interest is, that I can press a certain button such that you are willing to let your interest go for the other value that I'm bringing to you. These pillars, the what, the why, the how, are strong tenets to be able to understand so that you can effectively negotiate. Somebody will ask you, why are we negotiating? What at the end of the day, what's the essence of negotiation? What do we stand to achieve? Now, in negotiations, there are some 4 or 5 pillars that come to play. The first one is the win, I win, you win. The win-win approach. Okay? We are negotiating such that we all win. The next one is I lose, you win. Then I can also lose and win some. You can also lose and you also win some. Then I lose, I win. Either I win and you lose, or I will lose and you win. That one is a kick away. The win-win approach is where you are trying to accommodate and massage and make sure that every party has some kind of mutual understanding. We go on a certain level playing field. Then you also look at the I lose, you win, where we start at a scale. There's a certain balance. We try to negotiate. There's some relationship we want to look at. We bridge a certain gap and we can shake hands and even hug. If it's another country and want to do other things, you can go ahead and do other things. But then there's a platform where there's some commonality. Then you have the I win and you lose. Sometimes you need to negotiate to kick out. There are some negotiations that would end, there's no stalemate, but somebody is fired, somebody is kicked out, somebody is bulleted out. So understand that negotiations definitely would go through these regimes and these pillars. Now, I want us to look at the types of negotiations that would give us the strategies to deploy. Now, these strategies I'm going to talk about are about 5 pillars. These pillars, at the end of the day, you come to realize have their own pros and their own cons. The issue is that you should know as and when to apply them and how to apply them, such that for your own opportune gain, you will be able to have a leverage as you negotiate. The first pillar I want us to consider is what you call the accommodating strategy. The accommodating strategy in negotiation. Here, your primary goal is to maintain relationships between parties. It is also sometimes known as the I lose, you win model. Here, you do not act in your interest, but you try to pacify, you also try to repair, and you also try to build rapport. So you are in the negotiation with a thought to build rapport, with a thought to build relationship. So in your bid to negotiate, you're not too rigid, because you know that as I'm negotiating with you today, even if I lose, because the relationship I have established with you, in the future, I can be invited again to have a gain. Now, this tool is a very powerful tool if your intent is to build future relationships for future gains. Now, this tool normally is deployed very often when you are in a certain way you want to break into a market. You are coming into a market. There are industry players already in the market. There are giants in the market already, and you want to attract from the market a certain share. If you apply this technique of accommodating, then that's compromising a little bit on some of your discounts, your margins, your tangibles that are very rigid to anchor your business. You find a way to leverage on them and make sure that your interest is to pacify so that you can build a future business. It is an excellent way to minimize conflict, and it can be particularly useful when playing peacemaker and trying to unite 2 parties. Well, if it's a social setting that you are trying to bring parties who are at war, who are at conflict, who don't even understand each other, you want to bring them together on a negotiating table. If you use the accommodating approach, you will succeed. But watch this. Using this strategically can afford you accommodation from the other party further down the line, and to build trust and respect. But this is the caveat that I want you to please watch out for if you're applying the accommodating strategy. Sometimes this passive negotiation style does more harm than good. If you are the accommodating type, if you apply an accommodating type, it can do you more harm than good. Always giving in to demands can cause you to give too much away and be taken advantage of by a more aggressive negotiator. So you do what you call sidestepping. Know who you are negotiating with to deploy which arsenal. This is a powerful tool, building bridges for future opportunities that would come. But then if you go and meet somebody who is an aggressive negotiator and you apply this tool, the person can easily demand certain things, and when given, it would injure the advantage that you thought you were going to have in the future. The next technique and next strategy that I want us to discuss is what you call the avoidance strategy. The avoidance strategy of negotiations. Here, this is about avoiding conflict at all costs. Here, neither the relationship with the client or the goal of the discussion is essential. You go into a negotiation mood. It could be a business negotiation. It could be a social negotiation. Your mind is to avoid any conflict. So you come in very subtly and you make sure that everything that is being discussed is discussed devoid of conflict. If it's about pricing, you make sure that there's no aggression on both sides. You stay in the middle line. Using this style deliberately and consciously can allow someone to prioritize which conflicts are critical and which are trivial. People who use this style are skilled at weighing up time and energy versus the outcome. Implementing this approach, you should be very strategic in your thinking so that you know the balance between time and energy use, because this one is going to take a lot of time if you want to go the avoidance way. But then you should measure the time that you are going to expend trying to go the dada bar, slow way, trying to avoid conflict and being the mommy's child and daddy's boy and all that. Weigh that time against the outcome of the desired end and see if the balance would show. Conversely, this negotiation style can damage the interest of a company and the relationship with the other party. Avoidance is a short-term solution to a long-term problem and can result in resentment and apathy. There are times that issues are to be discussed. If you go the avoidance way and you are not careful, your short-term desire will be met, but your long-term solution will be disturbed. So please, it is said that any fight that you start and you leave to fight the fight another day. Just like Jefferik and Azumah left somewhere and Azumah had to go and knock Jefferik out somewhere. If ever you should use this negotiation style, it should be sparingly. This negotiation style, the emphasis is on usage of sparingly. Don't just easily deploy this arsenal. You require experience and a lot of training, and also you need to build confidence if you want to deploy this arsenal. Experience in the terms that you have engaged a lot of negotiation systems, and you know and you understand what sidestepping is, and you know how to deploy arsenals that can bring tempers down. Now, the next subject that you want to discuss under the negotiation is what you call the collaborating. Collaborating. This is extremely valuable for a business or an entity to work as a team with the other party to find solutions and meet the needs of the other party. This involves problem-solving skills and innovation. You should have a skill of problem-solving. The tangibles, you need to have a system where you set tangibles that you can pull and make references from. And you should have a very innovative mind. As you are negotiating, you are thinking of new things that would enhance the negotiation mood or will bridge the gap between you and the one who's opposed to you. This is a win-win model if you want to go the collaborating way and can find solutions that satisfy everyone without sacrificing business interests. It is the perfect style when a company seeks to overcome obstacles to establish enduring relationships. In collaborating in negotiations, you are looking at building bridges, having relationships that will stand, that would feed into your business opportunities that you lay ahead. The downside of this approach is that it requires a lot of energy and money and is incredibly inefficient, especially when the time scale is critical. If you have a limited time to negotiate a certain deal, and you want to use the collaborative approach, I am telling you, your desired end will not be met. It is also energy and money sapping Now, imagine I want to collaborate with somebody. I want to have a discussion with the person, a negotiation with the person. And the person says that let's meet at Liberia offshore. Okay. And I still think that, hey, if I'm able to go there, Charlie, I'll be able to close in on the deal. So let me go there and go and negotiate. Look at the expense of hotel. Look at the expense of travel. Look at the expense of energy, the time to consume to go there and have that negotiation. Now you need to balance yourself out and say, of all the energy and the cost that you've incorporated in this approach, can you make your returns when the negotiation closes? So deciding to use a cooperative approach, you should be mindful of your energy and your time, and also know that using a collaborative approach would cost you a lot of time. If you have limited time to execute a project, don't go unnecessarily negotiating for long. If the other company is not interested in collaborating, it can open business up to the potential of a low value agreement and a high value investment. Like I said, you are going to invest so much trying to collaborate, try to understand, try to bring the person on board, try to give in everything that the person demands to be able to have effective negotiation. But you will be having low value for your returns. Then we would want to discuss the subject of competing. This is a very powerful one. The competing type. Here, the goal, it is all about goal-oriented. It is a ruthless approach. It's an aggressive approach. The relationship with the other party is not a priority, potentially damaging rapport between long-term partners. It is all about I win, you lose. When you are applying the competitive approach, it's a sharp end. It's like putting a hot knife through butter. Bam! The thing for open, and you just enter. There's a time and place to use this style. Using a competitive negotiation wisely can help to reach a conclusion quickly and avoid time wasting with short-term partners or goals. If you go into negotiation mood and you've done your research very well, you've done your analysis very well, and you realize that actually this is a short-term execution, you just need something to come out straight and you don't have time to waste, and you just want something straight to come out and just have a closure to what you're discussing, then you apply the technique of the competitive approach. It can be perilous for a business if the person is inexperienced, and it can cause irreparable damage to well-established relationship. And some may perceive it as bullying. Yes, that is true, because if you go into a competitive negotiation with a competitive attitude and a thought, and you the one doing the negotiation, you don't have experience, you don't have data, you don't have the mandate of authority, and you are just using aggression, and bullying, you will be damaging your company, because the opposing side to the negotiation will assume that you are a bully. But it is helpful if the other side is playing the hardball and is utilizing a competitive negotiation style that presents a challenge. So all I'm trying to say is that in the competitive approach to negotiation, you are trying to position yourself against another competitor, another person who is very, very competitive in mind. So if you meet somebody who comes with a competitive approach on the table, whatever you are discussing, make sure you also understand what competitive method in negotiation is. Because if you are not careful, if the other party is very, very combative, they will bully you out. You will be quoting a certain price, which would be a disadvantage to you. The person will be negotiating and pushing you to the wall. And by the time you realize your break-even price, you would have even gone below it, and you would have lost, been a loser. I had an experience once when I had an insurance claim that I was negotiating for. Now, insurance claims, I thought for me, the insurance, I purchased comprehensive insurance and it's total. When I have a damage, I claim the percentage that is due me, only for me to get the claim, and I understand that I need to contribute a certain percentage be above what is written on paper, the 10% that I have. I said, why should this be? We went into a battle. They gave, I also gave, they gave, I gave. I realized that the person I was negotiating with was a competitive negotiator. Known to me, I got to realize that I can negotiate the percentage. It is not cast in stone. So the very first day the person negotiated with me and I realized that the person can push down my contribution negotiation, I said, And then I deployed my arsenals and I also kept negotiating, pushing and adding threats. Eventually, I got my desired percentage to contribute. and I was very happy with it. So, of all the things that I've discussed in the first preamble, all I'm trying to emphasize is that you need to know when to deploy an arsenal for negotiation using any of these 5 styles and models that we discussed. They are not cast in stone. They depend on the setting and the situation, and your registry of data about the person you are negotiating with will give you the opportunity to know which arsenal to use. Here, I would pause. I want to play a short video. After the video, I want us to have a simple discussion and see if what we have just gone through, we can some sentiments from the video that we play. So if you're okay, I'll just play a short video for us to discuss. Sorry, I think I need to discuss the last, I think I've discussed for, the last one is the compromising, pardon me, the compromising. Now in the compromising, this is a new negotiation style that looks for mutually beneficial solutions to conflicts. The desire is to meet in the middle and be willing to sacrifice less important things in the negotiation. My emphasis here is on less important things. It is not that you only give in and you are not discussing what is of importance, but the ones that you think are very trivial and would have minimal impact on the conclusions you come out of the negotiations. Then you can use a compromising approach. This approach values relationships and outcomes and eager to create solutions. This style is most valuable when the other party is trusted. If you want to use a compromising approach in your negotiation, make sure you are not dealing with some kukwananse. Make sure you're not dealing with somebody like me. I'm a salesman. So make sure if you want to compromise, then in your discussions, the one you are dealing with is somebody who is trusted. If the person is not trusted, the person will take undue advantage of you. It can also be very effective against a stalemate or deadlock if pressure from outside factors or collaborations have failed. You are in a discussion and there's no agreement. This one says, I want the cow's head. This one says, as for me, when my mother gave birth to me, it is the tail of the cow that I chop, and that is what I want. And there's a lot of pull and pull and pull and pull, and you are not getting an agreement. Here, deploy the arsenal of compromising. In the arsenal of compromising, you are not proving weakness. You are only proving a system where you bring mutuality for common benefits to resolve issues, either by way of business or by way of social life. But there's a potential. There's a potential to open manipulation from a competitive negotiator searching for any sign of weakness when this approach is applied. If you meet a negotiator who is manipulative, and you can tell a negotiator who is manipulative by some body languages, we'll go in and you get to know, by some attitudes, by some rhythms, by some patterns that people express, you will be able to know that they are manipulators. They take opportunity of what you have said and they reinvent what you have said in a certain direction just to hit back at you. If you meet people who are of this nature, please don't deploy what we call the compromising negotiation style. You can use other arsenals. You can use competitive. You can use avoidance. You can use collaborative. Please make sure you can also use accommodating. These 5 pillars, as we discussed, are very strong pillars. I want to pause here. I'm going to play a very short video. Please listen well to the video. And when we come back, we'll discuss what this video gives to us. So if you're ready, I'll just play this short video. Please listen. I'll play it maybe about twice so that you can listen to it. There's a gentleman, there's a little boy who's negotiating with his father. And the little boy will be deploying all the arsenals that we've discussed about now. I want you to listen and let's see where we can take opportunity of what we have discussed this evening.
Dad, can I have some ice cream?
No, buddy, it's almost time for bed.
Don't let this happen to you. I'm gonna teach you how to get what you want from your parents. Let's do that again. Dad, I really missed you today. Can we share a bowl of ice cream and talk about our day?
Sure, buddy.
You've got to figure out what's important to your parents. For Dad, it's quality time. And for Mom, it's something else. Mom, can I play my video game?
Have you already
You played your video game today. Let's do that again. Mama, can I do that for you so you can take a nap? You're so cute. I love you. But I did. I'll gladly play my video game. Just because it works for me doesn't mean it's gonna work for you. You gotta figure it out yourself. Got it? Go get it.
Thank you very much. This is a short video. If you don't mind, for those who didn't catch it very well, I'll just repeat this video once again, then we'll go into the discussion.
Can I have some ice cream?
No, buddy, it's almost time for bed.
Don't let this happen to you. I'm gonna teach you how to get what you want from your parents. Let's do that again. Dad, I really missed you today. Can we share a bowl of ice cream and talk about our day?
Sure, buddy.
You gotta figure out what's important to your parents. For Dad, it's quality time, and for Mom, it's something else. Mom, can I play my video game?
But you already played your video game today.
Let's do that again. Mama, can I do that for you so you can take a nap? Figure it out yourself. Got it? Go get it.
Thank you very much. So we just watched this video. I want to ask you what you pick up from this video. Anyone with a hand up can't come up.
Okay. Sir, I would like you to, I don't know if you would want to answer this question, and I think you can take Reverend Augustine's question after the discussion. It's in the
Okay.
chat box. I'll read it out later.
Okay, I've seen lots of hands up. Sorry. And so maybe can you can we do with the hands up first, then we continue?
Yes, exactly what I'm
Okay,
trying to.
so I see Solomon Ababu.
Yes, sir. Good
Solomon,
evening.
good evening.
All right, so I realized that the boy actually served the interest of his parents to get what he wanted. Yeah, that is an observation I made.
Okay. Okay, then Sarah Watson.
Yeah, good evening. What I also pegged from the video was that the guy or this young boy was insisting that at any point in time, or trying to point out that at any point in time, you need to figure it out. The fact that it worked for him does not mean that the same approach will work, meaning you need to consider the situation at hand and apply the necessary tool that will get you what you're looking for. Thank you.
Very much. Thank you very much. So you realize that the guy was a very competitive negotiator initially when he went to his father. Then he came back and he realized that the competitive banter was not helping. Then he decided to reform his approach and he used other ones. So all the 5 pillars that we discussed, they are encapsulated in this video. So as Sarah and Solomon have explained, I think Reverend Augustine, you can also come up.
Okay, thank you. I saw the boy use different strategies for different parties.
Yes.
What he used for the daddy is different from what he used for the mommy. And for me, that's what I've observed, and that's what I'm taking away.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Anita.
Well, I was thinking the boy used a collaborative skill for the man. Is that correct?
Yes. Yes. He saw that,
it's a win-win.
that if you realize his father was somebody who was time and energy conscious, when he came to his mom, he realized that the mother had some social relation concern. And so he says, Mom, can I do what you do? What you're doing? Can I do it for you? The mother just gave up and gave him a kiss. So just like you're saying, you need to know which arsenal to deploy at which time. Thank you very much, Anita. I see Abigail.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening, Abi. Please go on.
Please, hello.
Hello, we can hear you. Go ahead.
Yeah, I said mine is a question. So if I am free to ask.
Oh, please, you can go ahead.
Okay, so my question is, how therefore is negotiation really different from bargaining?
Okay. I'll give you an answer. Let's take another question, then we go on to that. So, HM.
Yes. So so at his first interaction with his parents, he realized he wasn't going to have his way. He went back, re-strategized, and realized it was supposed to be a win-win situation.
Yes.
Right. So he had to have his way, and his parents had to have their way also. So in both situations, a need was being met. Every need was being met in one way or the other. Yeah. So that's what I. Yeah.
Thank you very much. Winifred, then probably we attempt to answer Abigail's question.
All right, thank you. What I noticed was, even though he used more of a collaborative style, he also he was very emotionally intelligent to understand that he had to lose for him to also win. And I realized that even though there was something that cut across, there was something, I think, was sacrifice, because it might not be sacrifice to him, but later it could be trying to listen to your dad while he's talking about his problems, sharing ice cream. I mean, you're sacrificing listening just to eat ice cream, and also sacrificing a little time folding the things the mom was folding, and also getting time later on to also play his video game. So there was some sort of sacrifice in that, as well as I win, you lose. I mean, I lose, you win, and win-win at the same time. So yes, that's what I noticed.
There was some collaborative efforts there. So thank you very much. Just to go back to Abigail's question, Abigail wanted to know the differences between negotiation and bargaining. Quite often, these two terms are used interchangeably, but then bargaining is quite harsh than negotiation. Negotiation, you know what I told you, win-win, win-lose. You can have a knockout. There are very varied models that will go into negotiations with certain desired end. But with bargaining is quite direct. You have an interest and a desire to make sure that you take an undue competitive advantage of the other person. Bargaining, it is quite distributive and quite destructive. Here, your mind is to make sure that you maximize gain against the other party's interest. That is street bargaining. But in negotiations, we have varied models where you are looking at win-win, I lose, you gain, that kind of matrix. But as for bargaining, your interest and your desire is to have maximum gains at the expense of the other party. That is when you are bargaining. I don't know if I've attempted your question. Then if we can go on, I think I see Jemima. Jemima, you can unmute. Okay, if Jemima is not ready, can we pick on Hope Nutek? Hope D Nutek.
Yeah, good evening. Thank you for this opportunity. I say with my observation from the video, I got to know that from the beginning you said when you want to be a good negotiator, you have to know what you want. And I think that is what the child or the guy was able to pull out in the video. And also getting to know what you want, to be best at that, and then to manage your expectation. I think you also got to know what the other party could want, and that will also help you to moderate and take advantage in a way, or change the strategy in a way. And then you also say adaptability and knowing your environment. And so I got to know that when you got to the father, there was a different environment and the child used a different strategy. And when he got to the mother, got to know that the environment is different and then use another strategy. So that is what I got from the video.
Thank you.
Now, apart from that, I have a question to ask.
Yes, please.
I have a bit of confusion with the avoiding, compromising, and accommodating. I'm finding challenge to get to know the difference between the other three or four, apart from the competitive one. So if you can give me some kind of a bit of distinction so that a keyword to move with. Thank you very much.
Okay, if I can summarily just answer you, I'm saying that in the accommodation strategy, your main aim is to build a relationship. Okay, because you know that if I build a relationship today and I even lose out in the business, when I go forward, the future business will be very opportune for me, because then somebody I related to in a business today, when I was negotiating, I was a bit flexible, can take advantage of me. But next time, when the person has an opportunity to make a referral, because of the way I used the accommodative nature, I can be a referral of preference. And that is a strategy you can deploy when you are entering into a new market. Now, with the avoidance, I explained to you that you decide not to bring conflict. For you, dear peacemaker, you always want to avoid anything that will bring war. So in between the accommodating and the avoidance, you see that the accommodating, you are thinking of the future effect. But for the avoidance there, I don't even think about the future event. I don't think about anything. All I want to make sure is that nobody leaves angry. I don't know if I've attempted your question. Anyway, I think we can move on. So, Nanajwa, I see your hand up. Nanajwa, I see your hand raised. Okay, then can we go on to Godfred? Probably we can proceed after that.
Yes, and thank you very much for the insightful presentation. I realized that in watching the video, I don't know if I'm right, but it seems the young boy used the accommodating strategy in trying to convince the father by just trying to invite him out to build a rapport to enable him get the ice cream. I don't know if that is right. You could clarify that for me.
Okay.
However, I also want to find out the differences between negotiation and mediation. Is there any difference? Is there any differences in it?
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, let's pick some other questions. We'll come back and explain your side. So, Derek.
Yeah, so thank you very much for the presentation. From the video, one thing that I observed is that the little boy, he knew that the parents can still get what they need. I mean, the ones that he provided, sort of, he only made them aware of the things they needed. And so I think that it's a very nice negotiation skill, knowing that you just highlight or you make it clear for the party to know that, yes, this is what you need, but left for the boy, the parents will still get those benefits, just that he only highlighted it and made them want to have it, like the mom, when she said, you need to take a nap. Maybe the mom could have done something else, but the boy only enforced something that the mom would want to do. So in negotiation, I think knowing what the person wants and trying to highlight it would even want the person, you sort of ginger the person or get the person's interest in that area. So that's a very nice thing the boy did.
Thank you very much. I think we can proceed. So if the question that came between negotiation and mediation, just a straight one. You know, in negotiation, I told you when we started that you can even negotiate with yourself. Okay. And negotiations can happen between you and another body. Okay. But in the mediation, there's always a third party. As for mediation, you need a third party who will come in and bring the two parties that are opposed, trying to bring them together. But in negotiations directly, you don't really need a third party. You can have negotiations either with yourself or with parties that are involved. So there's direct communication in negotiation. But in mediation, you can have a middle person coming in trying to resolve the issues. I think if I've addressed your concern, probably that we can go on. So we'll pick the last one from Eddie's iPhone. And okay, maybe the last but one. We'll pick Eddie's iPhone, then we'll pick Sarah Boateng. So Eddie.
Okay, thank you very much, sir. So I kind of have a question.
Yes, sir.
So with the video you shared with us, I believe the boy actually lived with his parents for quite some time and has gotten to actually know how best to handle his parents.
That's right.
So my question boils down to the fact that you are going to negotiate with somebody you've not actually lived with or had any form of interactions with when it comes to like the business sector or anything like that. How then do you apply the skills or methods the little boy used on his parents? Because looking at him and his parents, he's lived with them. So with time, he's actually gotten to know them, and then he's able to deduce that this is the method or the best way with which I could get what I want from my parents. By the field or sector where you don't know whom your business partner actually is or whom you are going to negotiate with, how best can these skills be like implemented?
Okay, I will leave this question of yours for the next slide. As we do the presentations, we'll touch on that and I'll answer that one for you. So don't worry, you're in safe hands. We'll answer that side. So
okay,
Sarah,
thank you very much.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you so much for the opportunity. Just want to come from the angle of business ethics.
That's right.
So from the video we just watched, I realized that the guy was manipulated. Is there a way as business practitioners, we need to be mindful when negotiating and being mindful using ethical behavior?
That's right.
You want, but as to whether really the ethical conduct is proper. I just want to pick your mind on this. Thank you.
Ethics should be the supreme arrow of every negotiation. Keep to the ethics. The moment you violate any of the ethical lines, you expose yourself to unnecessary negotiations that will be biased against you. So ethics, very, very key. Manipulation is part of business. Effective manipulation. Maybe one day we'll have a discussion on this subject. Ethics and manipulation are different. I can manipulate to my gain and I wouldn't have violated an ethics. But then because of where I stand, when I measure you at the angle of opportunity and I see your weakness, I can manipulate you to a gain that will be at my advantage. Assume I'm negotiating with you to purchase a parcel of land. I can manipulate you with the laws if I'm very strong in law. I can manipulate you with the law to take undue advantage of you who is selling the property to me. So ethics, keep to it, never violate. But manipulation is part of business. One thing we need to keep in mind is that morality and business are two distinct issues. Unfortunately, if you share a certain faith and you're not very careful and you try to mix morality with business, that is where ethics and manipulation would have a conflict with your mind. But have in mind that business is different from morality and ethics is different from manipulation. Thank you. So the final one we'll take is from Jones. Then probably we can either take a break or we go ahead. So Jones. Jerry Jones Afo, my name.
Yep. Hello.
Yes, sir.
Hello, sir. Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you so much. Good evening to the class.
Good evening, sir.
Yeah, I'm so grateful to have the opportunity to be part of this what you call big insight that we are getting. For the I would like to talk about the accommodating aspect. To me, I am seeing that with the accommodating aspect, you need to have strategies and plans ahead of how you're going to overturn things around in the future, because you are starting or going in thinking of the future. For example, if I should have negotiated for a particular price, and because I'm thinking for a future relationship, I can lower myself or just to come down to accommodate you, and then thinking that in the future I will have the good price or the good that I hope for. What are the plans? Because this person can always use a strategy against you that, look, you gave it to me at this price. That is why I agreed to do business with you. This time around, if you're going up, I am not coming in.
Yeah.
So once you want to adopt that strategy, you ask yourself, how am I going to turn things around in the next, negotiation with this person?
That's right.
So that's my point. And then with this, just the person who asked or came in with the ethics issue, I always ask myself, if you read more about why would I want to market or adopt a strategy of marketing, when you look at it in the very high extent, you're going to know that you are now preaching about yourself or your business, that your business is better than the other. So always in marketing, you are telling that, look, I am good comparatively. I am better. Don't go for it for this one. Come for mine. So if you go deep, this, when it comes to religious and moral and ethics aspect, you are one way or the other condemning the other party.
Yeah, so I get the line that you're coming from. So we should link morality from business, okay? And that's true.
Exactly.
So Dennis, then we close the chapter. Dennis, I think
thank you so much. Thank you so much.
So Dennis, come up.
Yeah. Thank you, sir. Sir, please, I just want some clarification on the negotiation that we are discussing. Please, like the outcome of the negotiation, win-win, or you lose or you gain, and all those things. How is it determined? Is it determined based on the actual aspect of the negotiation or the satisfaction you get from the good or the item that you are negotiating with?
Okay, I get your question. You remember when we started the discussion, I showed you a 4-quadrant, what you are negotiating for, why you are negotiating. All those components will determine why you go into it. And it could be any issue that you are negotiating on. And so it is not only on monetary terms or anything. No, it's open. Anything. Your desired satisfaction is that at the end of the negotiations, the two of you would have had, I'm talking about effective negotiation, the two of you would have had mutual satisfaction, either agreed on or not agreed on, and you are ready to part ways. So it's not monetary only. It could be anything at all. It could be anything. Thank you very much. I don't know, coordinator, do we take a break here for some 5-10 minutes and come back, or we can continue?
I think we should do a 5 minutes break.
5 minutes break. Okay. So we're coming back.
Yeah, 7:25.
All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you too. And thank you, class.
Bedingen. Bedingen.
Hello, sir.
Are we back?
Yes, please. Thank you.
Good. Thank you very much, class. I've enjoyed myself with this class, and I've learned a lot in this class. I'm very grateful for the exposure, the questions that came, and the contributions that came, and all that. And it gives me an impression that sincerely we are all here to, expose ourselves to knowledge, and I'm very grateful. Please, let's keep this spirit going each time we are in for the IDMC, which is number 1 resource center for knowledge sharing. Thank you very much. So we are back to our class. Now we want to see how we can begin effective negotiation. We want to see, we've described what negotiation is about. We've spoken about effective negotiations. Now we've gone into the strategies that we can deploy when we want to effectively negotiate. Now the question is, how do we begin? Where do we begin from? The first thing I want to state here is that you need a preparation key, right? Every door, before you open the door, whether it's the door to salvation, the door to money, the door to success in business, the door to having an advantage in life, the door to even a sweetheart's heart, you need what you call preparation. So to answer the question of our brother, I think is Jerry Jones, the need for you to have a goal is very important when you want to negotiate very well. So define what your goal is and clearly determine what you want to achieve from the negotiation. Secondly, gather information. This is where I wanted to make an emphasis to you, that you need to gather information, research on the other party's needs, interests, and limitations. Go into a serious research before you go into negotiations. Don't walk into a negotiation and not have an idea. You want to negotiate with an Arab, know very well the standards of the Arabs. You want to negotiate with an Asian, with a Japanese, you want to negotiate with a girl woman, chairman. Understand that the zone you are going is a very, very, very. I'm married to a girl woman, so when I use a girl woman as an explanation, understand me. Don't go and tell my wife anyway. What I'm trying to say is that research the background of the person that you want to have a negotiation with, so that you know what their interests are, you know what their needs are, and you know where their limitations are. These three things, interest, needs, and limitation, will let you determine which arsenal of the 5 pillars we spoke about to deploy. Then again, you need to develop a negotiation strategy. After doing all these needs assessments, the interest assessment, the limitation assessment, then you come up with your strategy, plan your approach, including your opening offer, concessions, and your walkaway points. 3 things you need to know about when you're negotiating. There is an opening offer, there is a concession, and there's a walkaway point. We'll look at the models of negotiation and you come to understand where I'm talking about these 3 things. Opening offer, your concessions, and your walkaway points. These are pillars that you need to understand. If you don't understand these pillars, you will not be able to effectively negotiate. Now, sustaining your effectiveness in negotiation, you need to build what you call rapport. Rapport has to do with trust. Rapport has to do with positive relationship. You consider the activities of the party, and the party that is negotiating with you will then build trust in you. Then this thing that we spoke about from our preamble, active listening. Even before you can too much than we talk too much than listening, and that is the bane of our problems. We go into international negotiations and we are talking and talking and talking, and we sign contracts that are even killing us. We negotiate on things that are not fair to us because we are not listening. Somebody can spell something, but the pronunciation is different. This problem is different for how I've explained something to you. But spelling and pronunciations are different. So you need to be very active in your listening. Then you need to have empathy, and you need to understand, put yourself in the shoes of the other person as you are negotiating. So the interest of the other person is also catered for. Show that you understand and respect the other party's perspective. Yes. Then I want us to land into the model for effective negotiation. These 3 things I spoke about, that you need to do a needs assessment and make sure that you have consent and you have interest. Everybody negotiating has these 3 things, both the one negotiating in the competitive attitude, the one negotiating with an accommodative attitude. All these 3 things are very, very, very key. The models, there are a lot of models in negotiations. There are a lot of matrices that we deploy, but I just pick on only one of them to have an emphasis to discuss the subject. Now, there's this chart that explains our stance when we are negotiating. I would want to use this. Just a second. Pointer. This pointer is quite small. Okay. So anyway, all right. So if you look at the display charts I have here, you have what you call BATNA and what you call ZOPA. In this model, everyone selling has a BATNA, everyone buying has a BATNA. Everyone selling has a ZOPA, everyone selling has everyone also has a ZOPA. I'll explain what the BATNA and the ZOPA means as we go on this matrix. Along your path, within this zone where you have, assuming we are purchasing, where you have my cursor moving, okay, that is the seller's BATNA in this zone, where the contemplation of the negotiation goes on with the alternatives. What if the what ifs are all here? That is for the seller. Then the buyer, the BATNA is also here. You see that the buyer's BATNA and the seller's BATNA are at varied ends. They are indirectly proportional. Okay. Now, in the bid to the settlement, everybody starts from a polarity, a point of extremity, trying to come down to a bridge And as they move from their polarities, that's the seller's settlement range. This is where the seller will be contemplating and assuming that, oh, if I give 4,500, I'm okay. Then this guy, the buyer, will also be saying, 4,500, okay. If I also come down to 3,500, I'm okay. These negotiations should be going on up and down until they get to a middle zone where you call the ZOPA. In this enclave where you have the ZOPA, everybody has a mutual gain, and there is perfect understanding here. Below the BATNA line is your walkaway path when you are getting close to ZOPA. As you get close to ZOPA, your walkaway line is also near, because if I get to my ZOPA and you get your ZOPA, I get my ZOPA and you also get your ZOPA, and we are not able to agree, there will be a walkaway. Now somebody will ask you, what is this BATNA? BATNA is the best alternative to a negotiated agreement. It is defined as the most advantageous alternative that a negotiating party can take if negotiations fail and an agreement cannot be met. So within this part, if we can't reach an agreement, I feel comfortable here and I can walk away. Then you look at your ZOPA. The ZOPA is your zone of possible agreement, where I explained to you here as you move close to each other. It's also called the bargaining range. It exists if there's a potential agreement that would benefit both sides. So the negotiations that you go into, your interest is to make sure that you move from a BATNA to a ZOPA zone where there's commonality in the agreements we would want to have. Now you want to sustain your negotiations. You've gone through your models. You know what your BATNA is. You know where your ZOPA is. What techniques should you deploy? The technique of negotiation. The first thing you need to consider is to focus. Focus. If you want to catch a mango, if you want to bring a mango down, don't focus on a pawpaw. If you want to have a Land Cruiser to drive, I beg you, don't go and look at another alternative. I'm in the automobile industry, I can't mention names, but I know Land Cruiser is the ultimate, the king of kings. So have a certain focus, a direction. If you want to win souls, you know where to win souls. You don't go to the sea to win fishes as Jesus did and say you are winning souls. No, you come to where the souls are. You need to focus, have a direction. In your focus for negotiations, please, separate people from problems and focus on issues. Let me pause here to take my time to explain. Now, in our part of the world, please pardon me for using this explanation, but that would be the best alternative to use anyway. That would be my partner. We have certain nationals coming from certain regions of the world. Let's say Asia, to be specific. Let's say the Chinese. If there's any Chinese on the blog, please pardon me. I'm only making an emphasis. Don't take it personal. It's just for the purpose of academia. I issue a disclaimer. Pardon me if it hits you, please. So we know that the Chinese come to Ghana, and in our perception, they are destroying our lands and they are very aggressive. They don't understand things. When you are negotiating with them, they have a certain polarity. They don't move away from it. The funny thing is that when they come here, they don't know where the gold is. So we go and show them where the gold is anyway. That's a secondary subject. But all I'm trying to say is that we have a certain stereotype impression about who our Asian brothers are. So when a Ghanaian goes into a negotiation with a Chinese person or somebody from Asia, the mindset is so stiff that I know these people, they are aggressive, they are competitive, they have this polarity. So in your bid to go and negotiate, once you see the face as appearing as Chinese or Japanese or any Asian, that polarity is in your mind and you come with that attitude. For all you know, probably this Chinese is somebody who was born in the United States, grew up in an American culture, understand what is called mutual understanding, speaks the language that says that democracy is ultimate. So the person has a different mentality and the person has a different formation. But because you have assumed that this is how all Chinese are, in your negotiations, you go using a certain approach that denudes the person and that brings a gap between you and the person to negotiate effectively. So all I'm trying to emphasize is that in your negotiations, separate people from the problems and focus on the issue to be able to come to an agreement. Then focus on interest, not positions. You are coming to negotiate. If I say focus on interest, you know your offerings, you know the limit you can go, you know what you can do, but the other party also has an interest to be met. Try and meet the interest of the other party. I'm selling a vehicle. Somebody walks through my showroom, and sorry, I'm using most of the time vehicles because I work in Belinda, pardon me. Somebody comes to my showroom to buy a car. We negotiate. I realize that the person has not got the amount of money to purchase the car. The guy wants to drive a RAV4, but his money can't even purchase a Yaris. Apologies to anybody using a Yaris. Now, we'll be talking. I still want to sell the RAV4 at the figure maybe around $30,000. The person says I have $20,000. At a height, I can easily tell the person, you are not the type of customer I should target. Maybe you go away. But if I focus on the person's interest, I know the person wants a car. I can easily tell the person, you have $20,000, which can't pay RAV4. But can you have access to loans? Oh, can I in Toyota, I have a relationship with the banks. They give Toyota special discounts on their interest. I can negotiate so that with flexibility, what is left over for you to pay, we can get some flexible loans to cover for that so that you can bridge the gap. In a discussion as such, you would have won a sale. You have negotiated very well because you are also thinking about the interest of the other party, not your position of sale. Now, you also want to seek to understand the underlying interest and the needs of the other party. Very, very straight and clear. Again, use open-ended questions when you are negotiating. Don't give a yes or no opportunity answer when you are negotiating. It is a bad approach. Any negotiation table that has a yes or no answer always ends in stalemate and deadlocks. If you want to have a win-win approach, you want to have an advantage in the negotiation, ask questions that would give encouragement to the other party to also speak to the negotiation. Don't ask the person, do you want it red or white? No. The moment you go red or white, you've limited the person's opportunities to select colors. But you can go in, oh, I have these varied colors. What would be your preferred color? So that you can give opportunity for the other person to also speak. Then make a strong first offer by setting the tone for the negotiation with a confident and reasonable opening offer. Don't go into a negotiation and be vague in your thoughts. You don't know what you want to offer. Okay, I think I want to suggest this. This apple can be red, but we can make it white for you small if you want. I can sew the dress. No. Please go in straight and let the person know where you stand with your offers. Clear-minded appearances in negotiations gives a clear direction to the other parties that are involved. I want to ask you a question. Do you really want to win when you go into a negotiation? If your thought is to really win, then I want to share something with you. To stay calm and composed, manage your emotions, and maintain a professional demeanor. A strong weapon for negotiation is posture control. If you can't control your emotions and you can't be calm, people come onto the negotiation table with every kind of thought and every mind. If you are negotiating with somebody from the Eastern Asia territories, know that they are aggressive people. They come to tease your emotions. They come to cause you hysteria. In your moment of hysteria, your reasoning is impaired and you can't put anything positive on the table. You need to be flexible. You need to be willing to adjust your approach and consider alternative solutions. Learn from the experience, reflect on the negotiation, and identify areas to improve. Every statement you make in the negotiation cycle, the next time you are making a statement, don't repeat the same statement. Improve upon the statement. If the discussion is going towards an angle where you would think it's going to cause confusion, it's not going to bring you any positive outcome. Try and make sure that you're able to contain and say something different from what you have said. I want to ask this question. Every soldier who goes into war goes with a weapon. When teachers are going to teach their pupils, they prepare very well with their weapons, and they call it learning and teaching materials or learning aids. When a doctor is going to perform surgery, they prepare very well with their forceps and their needles, and the anesthesia would also come and prepare very well with the chemicals to sedate you. In your bid to negotiate, you need weapons to go into this, what you call tactics. Now, the first weapon I want to touch on is time. Time is a weapon in negotiation. The next one is emotion, which we have emphasized over and over again. Then information related. Here you are talking about research. I'll take them one by one. Time. Understand that you need to set a deadline to create a sense of urgency if you are negotiating. Make sure that you define a certain parameter within a time, okay, so that you can close the negotiation within time. Then you also can use delay tactics to create uncertainty or to give yourself time to think. You can use delay tactics. Then you can also use limited time offer, create a sense of scarcity by offering a limited time deal. The person walks to you, you are negotiating to exchange goods, and you go into a discussion and you tell the person, this type of good that is you are seeing on the shelf now, to be honest with you, if you come next week, it will not be there. You are creating an unseen scarcity to cause the person to take an instant decision so that the negotiation would not prolong. There are times that you need to create sense of delay because in your bid to cause a delay in negotiations, you are giving yourself the flexibility to reason and think ahead and plan and strategize for the table. So these arsenals are time related. Now we are talking about emotions. Appeal to the emotions. Use storytelling or emotional appeals to create a connection with the other party. You are negotiating with the party. And you need to understand and pull some emotions out of the person. If you have some commonalities by way of having come from the same school or having the same lineage, or you belong to the same clubs and associations, try to pull it and share some memories of storytelling with you. Create some fun. Create some fun. And when a man is going to woo a woman, there are some flattering words that is wooing a woman is part of negotiations anyway. There are some flattering words that will come out. You see the person's head like a cupboard, but you come and tell the person your head looks like a wonderful apple. You do certain things just to get the person's attention. There are times that you also need to deploy the arsenal of threats. You use threats to create a sense of urgency to intimidate the other party. Yes, now if you apply the principle of threat, then you should be an authority in that field. You should have an experience when you are using threats. I'm explaining to you, we are in negotiations, we are talking, and you make a certain reference, and I tell you, look, I have a PhD in this. What I'm telling you, I know it. So the experience I have is this. When you bring in threat situations and also exert certain form of authority, people would be able to close on negotiations with you. Then you do what you call anchoring. Anchoring. Here, the information data I spoke about. Start with an extreme position to set the tone for the negotiation. Then make an initial offer that is lower or higher than your target price. Here you're looking at the ZOPA we spoke about. There's a certain range that you can discuss. Then you look at enabling, you request more concessions to test the other party's limits. You go into a concession discussion. Again, like I explained earlier on, sometimes power. Power, you use authority, you use your authority expertise to influence a negotiation. I meet a customer who wants to buy a vehicle. Okay, I'm a salesperson. Sincerely, I have a background in engineering. Sincerely, I have a background in marketing. When I combine these two strengths, and I'm talking to somebody who wants to make an informed decision on buying a certain vehicle, I can use my authority in engines, my authority in engineering to explain to you why a 2.0 liter engine will not be in your favor. So please, let's settle on 1.5 liter engine, which will give you some fuel savings. With such authority, when you're able to express such authority to people you are in negotiations with, they can settle with you mutually. Then leverage, use external factors such as market conditions or competition to gain an advantage. I'm explaining a pricing mechanism to you. Yesterday, when you came to pick the price, it was 2 cedis. Now, tomorrow, you've come and close the deal. That thing is 10 cedis. I'm negotiating with you. I'm almost losing the business. I can use external factors to explain to you why the pricing is up. Oh, Charlie, in Ghana, these days, the price of vehicles, they've not changed over the past 5 years. The government has brought in a new tax, COVID tax. The government has brought in some baller tax. So the government has done this. Oh, you know, the CDO, yesterday when you came, it was still the same 2 cedis, but the cedi has depreciated against the dollar, and that has caused the effect of this. So your knowledge of external factors should also come into your negotiation strength. Then, what we call the subtle aroma of exit, your walk away power. Be willing to walk away from the negotiation if the terms are not favorable. Look, if you settle with a man, and the man is a murderous man, the man is not giving you what you desire. Even the man has almost become a lethal weapon to you in the house. Madam, don't sit there and let him murder you. Leave. If the woman has become a dangerous weapon to you and you can't sit, don't sit and say that. No, find a way to exit. In business, at a point in time where the negotiation is not coming to a mutual end, please, your power will exit the negotiation. Because if you're not careful, if you're negotiating, let's say, on pricing or goods or services, and the negotiating influence from the other party is very strong, if you're not careful, they can even cause you to go below your break-even line, and that will impact your future opportunity in business. We also look at concession-related strategies, weapons, where you plan your concessions in advance to create a sense of movement and flexibility. The reciprocity, offer concessions in exchange for concessions from the other party. We are negotiating. The other party, initially, we were all at extreme polarities. I don't want to come to Ghana to have a negotiation with you. I want to come to Libya. As the person has given a concession, try and also say, okay, they also move from Ghana to Mauritania. Probably we can meet on the Dead Sea and have a discussion to close. I want it 2 cedis because I'm impacted by my external factors. You can also say, well, okay, I'll also try and negotiate, do my backward integration very well. I can get some good supply pricing from my original equipment manufacturer, come to you, and we meet a middle ground. The moment you are negotiating and people on their polarities are giving concessions, and you decide not to give concession from your side, you will never come to a conclusion. I want to discuss another wonderful subject called the body language. The body language. In business negotiations, body languages are very, very pronounced. A significant one is handshakes. You need to know where business line is going, who you are negotiating with, so that you unduly do not express rudeness in your negotiations. There are some territories and some regions who consider handshake as a significant impact of disrespect. So it is not every place that you go to have a negotiation that you pull out your hand to shake someone. I work with a Japanese company, and from their culture, bowing is of more respect than an extended handshake. If you shake somebody from those areas in a business, as against bowing, you would have disrespected the person, and that should be considered. There are various types of shaking because we are not face-to-face. I can't express it very well, but sometimes we shake to tap, sometimes we shake to unhold, sometimes we shake to express, sometimes you even hug, but you should be very mindful the culture within which you are doing that. You don't go to, excuse me to say with all respect, to an Arabian country, negotiating with a female and try to shake the person unduly or hug the person unduly. You would miss it. Your negotiation effort to be impacted. Eye contact. It is good to keep eye contact, but make sure that the frequency and the longitude of your eye contact does not cause intimidation, but rather it should express confidence. It shouldn't cause scare. Then you call something poker face. Hide your emotions and use facts and data instead. Showing frown and wrinkled and eyes steady and smiles unduly is not the best in business negotiations. Even if I'm negotiating with you, I'm looking straight into your face, you're looking into my face. There are times that you will be saying things that are not to my advantage. There are times that, excuse me, you'll be saying that are very, very, very stupid and very, very foolish. But I'll still be nodding my head. Okay, you would have an impression as though, oh, he's getting what I'm saying. But in my mind, I'm only trying to bridge a certain gap to create a rapport with you. So I'll be nodding my head. But in my response, I will tell you what I want to tell you in a very perfect way. So please, frowning is not good in negotiations. If the body language expresses as frowning, you would have missed it. Then you need to be mindful of proxemics. Here, we are talking about personal space. It should matter in your negotiation. It can affect how comfortable and cooperative your prospect feels. Respect to avoid any discomfort. There are some people you negotiate with them, they don't want you to be calling them repeatedly. There are some people you're negotiating with them, they don't want you to come very close. Negotiate at a distance. Know what suits your setting and apply which of these 4 methods we just discussed so that you have a very, very, very good negotiation style. You need to create a mutually beneficial proposal. Develop a proposal that meets both parties' interests. Use your understanding of the other party's interests to craft a proposal that addresses their needs. You have to be flexible and you need to avoid undue and unnecessary situations that would impair your negotiation skills. You try to adjust your approach and you look for opportunities to compromise. A key factor of negotiation is compromise. Compromise is a very strong tool because you want to move from a position of partner to a position of zopa, which is very, very key. You need to stay positive in your thinking. The next subject we want to talk about is the cross-cultural negotiations. It is not every time that you'll be negotiating with personalities or entities that are very common to you. There are times that definitely you'll be negotiating with people with diverse cultures. We need to know and understand that cross-cultural negotiation involves parties from different cultural backgrounds, nationals, ethics, or organizations coming together to strike a deal. I am from Sheshe. You are from my hometown, Komenda. Somebody is also coming from Asen Edubiase. Somebody is coming from Tumu. In Tumu, when you are called for a meeting or you are called for a negotiation, you come probably with cola. In probably where I come from, when you are called to come for negotiations, you come open-handed. If I don't understand the cultures that we come from, there are places you go to negotiate and they don't serve water. It is normal. When we get to the table, we start the negotiation straight. In Ghana, when somebody comes to you, even if the person is an enemy, you serve water. We drink before we start the negotiation. You need to know where you are coming from. I've been to places where I've negotiated. We've had serious business engagement discussions that no water was served. But in Ghana, that would be an abomination. That somebody comes into your house and no water was served. When you are at the negotiation table in certain scenarios, everything from your spoken language to the unspoken cues like body languages and negotiations plays a part. You need to know what you call sidestepping once again. You sidestep if I'm negotiating with somebody coming from a territory where grammar is of significance. I don't go there and use verbose language. If you go, with all respect to Otumfuo, about him, if you go to, let's say, the palace of Otumfuo to go and negotiate a deal, and you go starting using proverbs and idioms at a place like that, you would have ended your negotiation before you started, because you should wait them of that height to engage you at a common place. If you go to negotiate a business deal, and because you went to Harvard, you know all the terminologies of marketing and you're a guru in every BOGO, Aldifa, IDA, all the theories, you think that you are strong enough, so you go and stand in front of a lecturer who has a PhD in whichever command field to negotiate with the president. You start using jargons like this, and probably that is all that you have with your Oracle. You will lose it. So your language, your body language, and even sometimes the pitch of your voice as you negotiate has an issue with culture. In cross-cultural negotiations, you need to adapt to new processes. You need to negotiate important issues separately. Don't go to a territory Let me use Japan once again because it's a territory that's very familiar to me. You don't go to Japan and start negotiating and start with stories. No, they don't have time for jokes. They are always on the move. It is about the job. When we leave the job or we leave the negotiating table and we are out for social fun, we will have a social life. But in Ghana, I have seen negotiations where we've been probably to the ministries or to a place to go and negotiate and you want to close a deal, that you find people starting with jokes. Jokes that happened on TV the previous night, a radio incident that happened before the negotiation started. You do that in an Asian country or specifically in Japan, it tells me that you are coming to the table not being serious. So you need to really, really separate important issues from flexible issues when you are doing cross-cultural negotiation. They need to listen to your trusted interpreter. If you are to go for negotiations where there's a language barrier, please get along an interpreter. But the emphasis here is on trusted interpreter. Because if you are not careful and you go to a discussion as such and you have an interpreter, I have seen somebody who was interpreting for somebody and the word the other person, that person called, when I went to the state of Virginia, when the interpreter was interpreting, the person said something different. So please make sure you go along with a trusted interpreter for a cross-cultural negotiation. What is the significance of cross-cultural negotiations? Cross-cultural negotiation, culture is a very key structure, like I've said already. It influences who the active negotiators are and the strategies that they deploy. The outcome of negotiations may be affected directly by cultural factors. Let me cite an example. There's always a risk when you are doing cross-cultural negotiations and you don't consider a lot of factors. Imagine yourself in a negotiation with an international partner. What might seem a straightforward issue to you could come off as a rude one. For instance, one culture could find polite resistance as pushy. We are negotiating, you are being very polite, but then you are being very persistent in your attitude as we negotiate. To some culture, they will understand it as, oh, this guy is just being pushy. But to another culture, they will understand it as disrespectful. I had an incident where I knew a child who had come to Ghana from the United States and was relating with the grandfather, and they were discussing. Every discussion could be a negotiation, like we said. They were discussing issues, and the grandfather did something, and it was a bit funny. Then the little boy said, "Grandpa, you are being silly. That is silly." My father, no, the grandfather took strong offense because he assumed that, what is the meaning of what you are telling me? In Ghana, you are telling me, silly. The grandfather got very offended. But from where the child came from, when you say silly, the interpretation is that you are being funny, grandfather. So you see where the cultural differences comes in. So you should be very tactful when you are negotiating across cultures, because what you would value as a simple thing, they would want to emphasize as a quality that is not accepted. In Japan or in Asia, even a well-intended informality on your part can jeopardize an entire deal. That's as I've explained previously. I just want us to consider some cases of effective cross-cultural negotiations. This effective cross-cultural negotiation requires the ability to adapt communication styles to fit cultural norms of the other party. This can include adjusting language, tone, your style of communication to ensure that your message is effectively communicated. I think I've emphasized this quite enough, so we can close on that subject here. Of all that you've done, you have been negotiating, you have been doing everything, you've applied the theories, you've come to a stage where the negotiations that you are into has come to a stalemate. Nobody is understanding everybody, and everybody decides to go their own ways. But then you have a desired end, like we said, you should have a goal in your negotiation. So you decide to bring back a stalled negotiation. How do you go about it? How do you bring back a stalled negotiation? The first thing I want us to take is that take a break. Drink some ice water. If you have some sobolo, drink sobolo. If you have some chilled, By faith, I can't mention some product name. So if you had a chill something, go and chill it and relax, cross your legs and think. The next thing you need to do is to identify the cause of the stalemate. What caused the negotiations to have that stalemate? Identify the cause. Then you need to change the framework where you started from, how you were negotiating. Were you being accommodative? Were you being competitive? Were you avoiding? Were you being collaborative? The framework under which you started the negotiation, you need to change it, adjust it. Then you generate options. Here you go back to your banter. You look at the banter, the options that are in there. Then you need to build rapport. For every stalled negotiation, you need to build what you call relationship. If you need an externality to support you, you need to do that. Then you need to seek help. There are times that you can't negotiate alone. You need a third party who has certain expertise, who has certain relationship, who has attempted the negotiation as such with this same individual and knows the weakness of this entity when you are negotiating. Please seek their expertise and you'll be able to close on a deal. You negotiate the deal with tact. Use active listening. This one, I will emphasize it. Use active listening. Pay attention. Address the concerns and objections. Respond thoroughly to other parties' concerns and objections. Don't close your mind. When you have a relationship that has been stalled, you make sure that you open your mind to the concerns of other party. Make strategic concessions. What you offered previously that was denied, change it. Come and bring a new offer. You gave me apples the last time. This time, I don't want apples. I want oranges. You gave me gold the last time. I don't want gold. This time, I want diamond. Know how to marry and how you change your settings to your own advantage. Store and assess the situation. Reflect on the events that led to the previous impasse. Consider whether your objectives have changed or if you need to adjust your approach. Assess the other party's perspectives. Try to understand the needs of the other party. We are still talking about how you can revive a stalled negotiation. Then you re-establish communication. Send a non-confrontational message to re-establish communication. At the last time when you ended the negotiations, probably you parted in a very informal way. In your new bid, invite the person out for dinner to start the negotiation. If previously you were doing the negotiations in your office or the other person's office, or you were meeting along the roadside to do it, nothing stops you if you can invite the person to a situation where the environment can influence the person's decision to listen to you. Like I said, you use open-ended questions and you listen actively. Address the underlying issues. If you have a problem with a woman and you don't go address the underlying issues and you think that you can buy a gift for her to forget that the other time you did something against her, forget it. You are writing your death warrant. Your destiny will not come to a conclusion. Identify the underlying causes that caused the initial stalemate. Seek to understand the underlying needs and desires of the parties that you are in negotiations with. You look for creative solutions. Think outside the box. You make concessions strategically. Then change dynamics. Previously, if you were using a position of competitive approach for the discussions, try and see if you can see some relationship establishment that can build a gap for you to have the person's attention by using an accommodative approach. Consider the meeting in a different location, like I said already. Bring in neutral third parties where you think you are having a challenge and you think some expertise can come in to facilitate, to close the deal. Please bring in such times. Then again, use time to your advantage. Take a break from the negotiations to give both parties some time to reflect. Time is a weapon. Deploy time. Seek solutions that just satisfy both parties' interests. Build trust by being open in your communications. I want to pause and say something. Negotiation is a skill. Negotiation is an art. Negotiation is quite evolving. If you are not careful and you release certain arsenals, you would never be able to get through an effective negotiations. If you go into a negotiation that you want to be effective and you lack preparation, you don't have data, you don't have information, you don't have a mind to have concessions, you don't understand where Zopa and Banter meets, and you are not creative, and you only focus on me winning, I am very confident to tell you that you will not effectively negotiate. One line that you need to keep in mind too is that solo negotiations have challenges. Rely and depend heavily also on expertise advice in negotiations, where you introduce certain third parties that can help you. For our take home, let me just close this chapter by saying that, giving you a summary of all that we have discussed, you need to do your homework very well, know your facts and your figures, understand the other party's needs and constraints, master the act of silence, let the other person fill in the silence. They might give away useful information. Times we spoke about listening. Listening involves you being silent, so that what the person says in the negotiations, you can pick on the same subject and have a dynamic approach to it for your own gain. Please don't be afraid to walk away. Walk away is part of negotiations. If I think that what you are supplying or what you are negotiating with me will not give me any value, or the extent to which I've negotiated with you, if I proceed, it will be to my disadvantage. Please play the flying bird card. Fly and flee, move away. When those of you who read the Bible, when Joseph and Potiphar's wife were negotiating, it wasn't working. Joseph had to flee. That negotiation had to end in a certain way. If we're in the church house, would have said hallelujah, but anyway, we are here to learn. Play the reluctant party. Show hesitation. Make them feel like they are getting a better deal. Anytime you are negotiating with somebody, make sure that the person the flattery we spoke about, that no, pass the person through some way of Maldives experience and take the person to Bahama experience, give the person an ambience of you are accommodating and you are very relaxed, so that the person will have a thought that you are showing a sense of empathy and the person will walk into your way. The next tool I want to share with you is use time to your advantage. Set deadlines for your negotiations. Pressure of time can move the negotiation forward. I want to say thank you very much, and finally end by saying that the fruit of your labor generally do not show up on your first attempt to negotiate. Moving a negotiation process requires hard work. This means deploying all the tactics to achieve success. Thank you very much. We will pause here, and if there are any questions or any contributions, we will take it up. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I see a hand up. Okay, please, if you have a question, kindly use the hand raising emoji. Then we know the number of people asking questions. So I have Adiapena. So Adiapena, please start.
Please, you need to coordinate the questions for me. My screen is messing up, so I might not see who is lifting their hand.
That's fine. Adiapena, then Della.
Thank you very much for the presentation. I like the fact that you didn't limit it to a cultural context, but you brought in intercultural negotiations. Because every time, sometimes when we go out, you meet people who are not Ghanaians. So thank you very much for bringing that. My question will be on the tactics. Can you please go to that slide?
On the tactics, right?
The first slide on the tactics, yes.
Let me see. I don't know why my screen has decided to be disappointing me. Just a second.
I know the question, but so that everyone will see.
Okay, this one?
It's after this. Yes, after the next slide after this.
Okay.
It's about time. Yes, this slide. I agree that you have to set deadlines to create a sense of urgency. At what point will you use the delay tactics to create the uncertainty?
Come again, there was some background noise. I didn't hear your question very well.
Okay, so my question is, you made a first point of using deadline, setting deadline to create a sense of agency. My question is, at what point, you also mentioned delay. At what point do you use delay to create uncertainty? Can you give an example, a practical example?
Oh, okay, I get your question now. There are times that you are negotiating with somebody, you don't have the capacity to instantly meet the demands of the person. Okay. You officially create a sense of delay so that you can meet the demands of the entity.
Okay.
So it's an artificial creation. I'm negotiating with you. I know that you definitely will close in on me. Let me use a typical example of how our operations are. Somebody wants a vehicle from me by tomorrow. Okay. I know I can't get the vehicle tomorrow. But if I'm able to go through tomorrow and probably next week, I can easily get you the product. I will book, I'm not giving you arsenals, don't use it against us. I can arrange a meeting with you and give you series of test drives whilst I play the delay tactics game. So today, I will tell you, let's try the vehicle on this rough road. You will come and joyfully come and try it. I'm still negotiating. Tomorrow, I will tell you, let's go on the rough road because yesterday we couldn't do the rough, but let's go here. I will just be buying time so that I can meet my desired end. You have an interest, I have an interest, but I know where I would want to go. So using delay tactics in negotiation helps. There are times that in the delay, in the negotiation process, you've asked me a certain demand or if you asked me a certain thing. I don't have the instant answer for you. If I give you any instant answer, it will make you take an instant decision and probably you walk away. I will deploy the arsenal of delay to create uncertainty so that I would have enough time to even to reason to tell you what I want to tell you. Did you get me? Yeah. So all I'm trying to bring across is that no one fit of these things, the tactics we've spoken about, works perfectly for every situation. What you need to know is the knowledge of the weapon and when to deploy it after you have done your needs assessment. If I'm negotiating with somebody who I can see from the pace at which I negotiate, there are times I have to go into negotiations with people and they are very time bound. Along the negotiation, they are telling you by 2 o'clock, we need to take up our lunch. By 3 o'clock, we need to come back and conclude. By Friday, we need to close. If you see an attitude and approach as such, please don't deploy the arsenal of delay. Make sure you go by the deadlines and you'll be able to close the deal.
All right. We will take Della.
Yeah, thank you very much, Madam. And thank you so much, sir, for the much elaborations. I want us to use the video as a case study. Case study. At what point of time should we say the boy negotiated with the mother or bargained with the father? And the second question is, when it comes to signing of legal documents, at what point of time do we have to involve a lawyer or maybe an expertise personnel? Thank you very much.
Let me answer your second question first.
Okay.
If you're going into any legal concern as a business entity or a social person, please, your first contact should be your legal person. Don't go and sit in any negotiation that has legal concerns and legal clauses. Commit yourself before you come to a lawyer. You would have shot yourself. Whatever you negotiate on the table the first time, that gets imprinted in the other party's mind, it stays. Seek your legal counsel right from the onset. Let them know what you want to do and where you want to go, and you'll be at peace. Regarding the video that we saw, the boy deployed a lot of tactics. When he was negotiating with his mother, he went into a negotiation mood. He saw that the mother had an interest in relation. So he went to the mother, emotionally triggered the mother's emotions by showing that he was of concern of the mother's health and tiredness. And the mother gave in. And he had his way to help the mother and go and play his game. Now, when he came to his father, when he started the negotiations, it wasn't negotiation, he was trying to bargain with his father. He came in with a straight approach and was very competitive and told the father, I want to play my game. And the father says, no. That was a straight bargain, but he didn't win the bargain. And then he decided to go and have a principle of negotiation with the father, knowing that the father was attracted by time and efficiency. When he got onto that and said, Daddy, can we have an ice cream and do this? The father gave in, and after that, he played his game. So it is as and when we deploy our skills to get what you want out. Thank you very much.
Okay. Thank you. Mr. Gariba.
Yeah, hello, Dan here. I will come in from a satisfied customer point of view. It's just a contribution.
Yes,
I really love the presentation. Everything is on point. I am so satisfied. We've been to a couple of trainings, similar trainings, and the result was very bad. So I was extremely skeptical. Even with the registration, I wasn't too comfortable registering. But I was like, hey, just give it a try. So the presentation is on point. I'm so satisfied, and I would love to be in future classes that you'll be handling. And I hope that the lecturers that will be engaging when the other sessions start, it will be something similar. I mean, the quality will be such. I also want to lay a little bit emphasis on the delay tactics thing you've said.
Yes, sir.
It's something we used on a daily basis. In fact, it's my greatest arsenal. I had no idea I was using something so. I didn't even know I was using a theory. I thought I was just being smart with my customers. It worked. It worked. It worked like magic. I mean, I've been able to deliver because my work is supply and demand kind of a thing. So sometimes a customer will call and you don't have the product in. Do you let them go? No. You find a way to delay the process. At the end of the day, you sell, you deliver. So thank you so much. I'm so grateful, and thank the institution too. They've done a beautiful job. I'm so grateful. I know the classes that will be coming up will be very good. Thank you so much. And then I'll come to see you because I'm into vehicles. I sell vehicles. So you'll be seeing me in your office very soon. Thank you.
Okay. We'll take Riches, then we'll go to Jerry Jones, then finally Anita.
Okay, my name is Richard Apia. Thank you very much, Jerry, for the training. I think you've done a lot right across from the bedroom to the kitchen to the offices to the international level. Thank you very much. I have a big company that I'm nursing up, so this was a perfect training for me on going forward with my entrepreneurship. And also, this is not the first time I'm having a training with this institution. So my first one got me a project management position, which I was very happy about. So training for this one wasn't at all. But I have a question.
Yes, sir.
So with this, my baby company, I actually sent out some flyers, and a manager contacted me. That was last week. So he wanted me to offer me some works from a company that also needs my services. So because it was a baby company, when he told me to send him my quote, I actually thought of it and then gave him a quote, which I think, per my expertise and what I'm going to give them, what I'm charging them is below what is supposed to be, what the expected charge. So I didn't know that I was actually using a type that is called accommodating, because I want to establish a relationship with this man, or for starters, so that at least I can get other opportunities from him. If I go on a higher level, it can put him off from even giving me this particular one. And fortunately for me, after this, he called me 2 days into our conversation that the company wants me to do the same installation for them on 3 of the other sites. So that is a plus for me. So now my question is, I went into this with the accommodating type. So next time, if I want to go up on my prices, how do I go about it without losing this customer and other potential customers? Thank you very much.
Let's give you a straight answer. You remember we spoke about the externalities and external factors that will influence a negotiation bid. So here you can adapt the externality factors, which are factors beyond your control. So issue the same invoice at your current price, but go into itemized pricing where you explain the factors that would have influenced your current pricing. So you can look, exchange rates are there. You can look at time of delivery, the time efficiency of delivery, market challenges, the business parameters or industrial parameters that are changing to influence your pricing. So explain to the customer. Don't just issue a pro forma invoice saying that this is the new price, but go into a mood where don't tell the person that the initial one I gave you was my introductory price. No. The moment you start that, the person has an impression that you can still maintain your introductory price, because business, like we said, when bargaining comes in, it's the maximum efficiency I can get pressing you down that I'm looking out for. So use externalities that are beyond your control to do your current pricing, and you'll be able to break through. Thank you.
Hello.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Thank you, Mr. Jerry, engineer. I think we've had a lot from you. This is very great. Earlier I wanted to withdraw from coming in because I wanted to also lay some emphasis on the delay aspect and add some contribution. Anyway, I think it's not bad. We can still add up. I use this strategy most of the times. For example, about 3 days ago, when a client asking for a supply for an item, and then he's asking about 20 pieces of that item, but I had only 10. And here he was like, look, I am having a timeline for the next day in the morning. If you're not able to give me the 20, then I have to only buy the 10 and then go and buy the extra 10 from another shop. So I have to come in with a strategy. Look, I have the items, but the point is that I'm told from the head office that the price has been reduced. Intentionally, I know that I'm having, for example, if I'm having about 100 CDs each from each item, I decided to give off 30 CDs out to this client so that I maintain him and I'm able to win this offer. So I told him I've been called from the office that the price have been reduced to a certain amount, but it should give me time to confirm the next. So quickly I have to rush. Give him 2 days, and because of the reduction, he was able to wait. You understand? He was able to wait, and I gave him 30 CDs out of my profit, and I was able to win him 2 days extra. Yeah. You understand? So sometimes
all that are summarized on what you're saying is that you need to be very strategic and know which type of mechanism to deploy.
Sure.
So that would be it. Thank you.
Very well. Very well.
So I think we'll take the final one, like I mentioned earlier. Madam Anita.
Yeah, hello. I was looking at the threats, to using threats as a tactic. To me, there are times that you go to town to buy items, like I deal in African print shirts, and then you see a fabric and the fabric is nice, but you are not ready to buy. But somebody comes in and wants to buy. I try to help the seller by saying, "Oh, this is nice. If you don't take it, I'll pick it." Is that a
Yeah,
threat?
yeah. Yeah, so then you're bringing a competitive angle in here where the competition is not from the buyer, but you are doing what you call parallel competition. In parallel competition, you are looking at people who are actually buying, try to compete for the advantage of the seller. Okay, so if person didn't even see the value of the print that you're talking about. From a distance, I didn't even consider it as something worth it. But if 10 people are saying, Charlie, the thing is nice, then I must of all also present myself as such. Here you're looking at what you also call the social acceptance. Once everybody accepts something to be good, everybody comes to it. Just like everybody accepts Toyota is good, so we are all buying Toyota. Of course, Toyota is good. Thank you. That's true. So it
Okay.
was a good strategy, right?
All right. So please, before you leave, I want us to take these two questions from the chat box. One person is asking how you can marry lobbying and negotiation. And then also the second question is if negotiation is for both the supplier and customer.
Okay. The second question, I'm not getting very well. But the first question, lobbying and negotiation.
Please, did you get the question?
The second question I didn't get very well. Let me answer the first one, then we probably rephrase the second question for me. Lobbying is a whole board game
Okay,
altogether. So negotiation in lobbying, you negotiate. The negotiation comes in lobbying as well. Okay, but lobbying is a whole concept altogether. You have lobbyings that are legal, you have lobbyings that are not backed by law, you have lobbyings that are open. In some countries, you need to register as a lobbyist to be able to lobby. In other countries, it's open. So lobbying is a whole set. We can pick it one day and have a discussion on it. But then in your bid to lobby, there's negotiation also there. Then the second question.
If negotiation is for just the customer, or it's just for the supplier, or it's for both?
No, it's for both. It's for both. In negotiations, we are all negotiating. The customer is negotiating for the best deal. You are negotiating looking at your revenues and your profits. The customer is negotiating for deliveries. You are also looking at negotiation for customer satisfaction. The customer is looking for a certain delight. You are also looking at expectations. So it's both ways. Negotiation cuts across both ways.
Okay, so I think whoever asked the question has the answer now. So I think we have come to the end of today's or tonight's session, and we really appreciate that you joined. There are people who have registered for our AI and digital marketing course. I saw Mr. Daniel Gariba, if I got the name right. It's good to see you in class. And we hope to see you in the main class. But please drop the next course you'd like to take with us in the chat box, and we'll work on it and invite you for a similar session. Please drop it before you leave. And Mr. Jerry, is there something you'd like to say finally before we wrap up?
Thank you very much, class. This has been a very active class, and each of the classes that or how do you call it class? Each of the fora that we've had has been very, very interesting. Massive participation, examples. We're all sharing ideas, and I enjoy it this way. It makes it very, very, very open. And I would suggest to you, please keep this openness along. Let's have a good fraternity and a good family as such. And please ensure and make sure that IDC would be your preferred choice of knowledge acquisition, because trust me, they know what they are doing. Together, we'll build a unified system. Thank you very much, and we hope to see you in subsequent sessions. Have a wonderful evening.
All right, thank you so much. And thank you so much, class. So we'll meet another time. I can see your courses will get copies of them and work on it. Last year we couldn't have the event management course. This year I saw some few people typing it. So this year we are organizing the event management course as well. Thank you so much for joining. Please have a good night.
Thank you.
So you ignore my question. Yo, bye-bye.
Mr. William.
Do you know, William,
yes,
please send your question to IDMC. They will send to me. I'll give you a very good response. Okay.
Oh, Theo know already. She's just trying to ignore me.
I'm sorry. We'll address your question. They just send it to Theo. She'll send it to me. I'll address the question for you. Okay.
Sharp.
We really value you. We value you and will not ignore your question at all.
Don't worry. I'll go and meet her at the office.
Nice day. All right.
Hello.
Can we get the slide or the recording for?
Yeah, slides will be shared, so don't worry. Everybody will receive
everything will be. Yes, the
right.
alumni members are talking. They know what we do, so please don't worry. It will be shared with
Please,
you.
some of us are not in the alumni group.
You get it, don't worry.
Have you taken any of our courses before, please?
Yes.
Guys, if you have not, you have to because you learn a lot and it will help you. It's a whole.
Yes, I've taken the course, but it's left with me to be added to the page, please.
Yeah,
so
you'll be added.
I think
Don't worry.
Okay, so I think you can send us a message because we don't add people manually to the page. There's a link on the resource file. I'm sure you missed out on that. So you can give us a call and then we assist you tomorrow, please.
Well,
thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Have a good night. All right, thank you so much. Please, if you are new, we'll send it to you. Don't worry. We have your email. That's why we let you fill the form. So we have your emails and then your phone numbers. You will have access to them.
If you are new, you don't have a problem, eh? In fact, if they don't send it out, I'll come and send it to you.
Mr. William, thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Yeah.